Hi there, everyone. This is Dr. Gwen from the Dr. Gwen International Training and Empowerment Academy and host of the iTunes show, The Dr. Gwen Show. Good day to you. It is my immense delight to be back here with you again to continue our empowering reflections conversation. So I know Facebook is always on the scout for me, and I am looking for my friends who I know will join me here in a little bit. And I hope that today will be a great day for you. I know the bulk of the work day is over, but the bulk of the day is not over. And so whatever you choose to make of it is what the impact will be on your experience and your life. So I know for me, there are a lot of things brewing, as tomorrow I have a speaking engagement with the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm really excited to go and address entrepreneurs on the importance of living, the quality of their lives, the quality of their relationships, and the relation of passions to all of that. So I'm really looking forward to that experience. And I will be sure to share something on my feed or on my Facebook page about that so that you can join me in that experience. Now, my topic for today is how listening affects results. And when I come to you and talk, it's about life. It is about the experiences that we have from day to day. It is my experiences. It is experiences with other people that I interact with and experiences that I see and observe on a day-to-day basis. So this conversation was sparked by an experience that I noticed. My own experience in making some phone calls to interact with other representatives in organizations and my own experiences in participating in live discussions. So my goal for you today is that you will be more alert to what the messages are that you are communicating by listening, and also by impacting those people who are listening to you, so you can in essence be sure that your message is clearly communicated. Now, what I find in life in general is that people don't listen. They don't listen. They have a way to put their spin on what they think was said. And by putting their spin on what was said, they begin to offer suggestions and advice that completely misses the mark. Have you ever been in that situation where you felt like you have asked a question or you have communicated a request, and the responses that were coming back completely missed the mark? Now I'm going to tell you this. One of the things that I know that I am still in developmental phase in is my patience. I am transforming my patience. And my patience sometimes gets a little thin when I believe that people don't listen and they put a spin on what I'm saying and then begin to feed information to me that I didn't ask. For example, let's say you place a phone call to an organization, and I'm wondering if I'm public here. I hope I am. But in any event, I don't see anybody popping in and out like I normally do, and so I suspect that this probably did a little spin on me. But in any event, I'm going to continue because I know that you will see this later, and I always encourage you to leave your comments below so that I know that you have listened. And your feedback, of course, and your perspective. That is always welcome. So you make a phone call, for example, and usually to some of these organizations like banks, and you're calling to question some transaction on your account. And they're giving you information that you already told them up front you were aware of, and they're offering solutions that completely miss the mark. What do? Well, first of all, I interrupt and I say, I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't mean to interrupt you. However, the question you are answering is not the question that I asked. Now, sometimes when I do that, they will come back and say that they have to say certain pieces of information. And then in that regard, I wouldn't want them to lose their job. So I will sit there just praying for them to get through that piece so I can get to the information that I called in the first place to request. And they would go through that, and still sometimes it's circuitous. That is, you're going around in circles and there's no clear solution to what you are asking. What do you do in that situation? The thing to do is to make sure that you're not thrown off track. And I'll say a little bit more about that later. This is particularly important in relationships, close relationships with your significant other, maybe with your child or your coworkers or whoever the relationship is with. Some people have a tendency to offset whatever it is that you are presenting so that you can be deflected and go off course. And if it is something that is meaningful to you and that's very emotional, sometimes you can find yourself running down that track. You set up a track, you stated what your questions were, or maybe whatever the concerns were, and the person you're speaking with sets a deflecting track. Now you have to be careful that you don't jump on that track, because jumping down that track will lead to another track and another track and another track. Now ask me how I know that. I have lived that experience in my past life. Decades ago, when we were having issues in our marriage, that was the trend of our conversation. I would raise one thing. When he started talking, it's completely something else, completely deflecting the conversation. In that case, what you have to do is to stand your ground and to be clear about the message that you want communicated. So, taking on, hello, thanks for joining me, taking on an approach of a broken record approach. That is, you say it again. So, for example, in the case of my individual on the phone, if I call and I make a request and I find that they are deflecting and going off track, I would bring them back to the question again. Or some salesperson who is trying to get you to buy something that you don't want to buy, and you have clearly communicated, sir, I'm not interested, right? And then what do? They start explaining another feature, another benefit, and why you should buy it. If you allow yourself to go off track, you will probably end up buying the stuff later on if that salesman is so skilled. So what do? Use that broken record approach. Sir, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in buying. But ma'am, sir, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in buying. Well, you see, this is something that would benefit you. Sir, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in buying. Okay? And you say that eventually they have to give it up. Now, you use the same approach if you are in a conversation with someone where you are trying to make a point and they're deflecting. Just keep repeating that gently and calm, not escalating, and eventually they will get it, hopefully. Now, sometimes I also find myself in groups, and like the other day, I was having a discussion with a group of folks, lovely people, and I talked about something being missing, right? Like a strategy or some information that I may not know. And that conversation was interpreted to mean that there was lack in my life. And I was floored. I couldn't believe how my question of something being missing to advance to another direction would bring this, thanks to the likes, would bring this to a lack or lack of abundance or lack of whatever it is. And it's clear. See, when we are doing work, transformational work, and when I am working with my clients, one of the important things to look at before you even start working together is figuring out the missing. Like, what is it that you want? What do you want to get to? What is the end result that you want to see? And where are you right now? Everything in your life may be just completely fine except for that one specific area. And if people are not listening and they're not in tune with what you're saying, then clearly they're going to go off track to give counsel, advice, suggestions, answers that don't even impact or relate to what you are communicating. So how do you help that process for you? How do you help people so that they can listen to you and you don't feel frustrated? Once again, just clearly state what it is that you want, and if you find that they're off track, repeat the question. Just repeat your question, this time being clear about what it is that you are saying or not saying. You don't want to give the impression as though you're being defensive about whatever it is that they're saying. However, if you calmly state what you are saying and clarify that, then I think that will help the situation. Now, back to the situation of some things. What are some things that you can do to ensure that you are really listening? Because in the long and the short of it, we really can't control other people. We can't tell them how to live their lives. I mean, we can tell them, but our impact is minuscule, right? People are not going to change their lives. They're not going to transform their lives unless they see a real reason for themselves. So you talking won't even make a difference. So now, how do you ensure that you are really listening to other people? Well, I've got about a few tips for you, perhaps about 6 maybe. The first one is to make sure you listen in silence and don't interrupt. I know that can be a tough one for a lot of people, because as people are talking to you, your brain is churning and they may say something that you consider incorrect, and so you want to jump in and fix it in that moment. One thing that helps me in that process is to get a notebook out while I'm listening. And I tell them I'm going to take notes so I can really capture the essence of what they're saying. And so, I write the notes down as they're speaking with the points so I can remember, because when one point leads to another, by the time you get to the end point, you have forgotten what was said the first time around. So a notebook really helps me so that I can know what to do. The next thing is really clarifying, just being clear about what I hear the person saying. So instead of giving advice, what I'm going to do is to ask clarifying questions. I'm going to clarify to make sure I get it. So in other words, I'm like paraphrasing what I'm hearing them say. Okay? So it's paraphrasing what they're saying. And is this what I hear you saying? And I restate what I've heard them say, and they will say, no, that's not what I'm saying, or yes, that's what I'm saying. There's power to doing that, because when you actually do that, people suddenly feel as though they're being listened to. If you interrupt, they feel like you're not listening, and they're going to dig their heels in with whatever it is that they have to say to you. So really listening quietly and letting them talk off their steam while you take notes, and then before you jump in and say what the point is that they got wrong, be sure to start off by just clarifying, rephrasing, paraphrasing, however you want to say that, whatever you think you heard. And then once they have clarified, answer only that question. Don't be the guy or the girl that goes off and deflect the conversation to another track. If you're doing that, please stop it. Stop it right now. It's not good. Just stop it. So what you want to do is answer that question directly. Go directly and answer the question, and don't raise any other external issues. This way, you'll be sure to have that person have greater buy-in to what you are trying to say to them. Secondly, they'll probably end up liking you better and therefore listening to whatever suggestions you have. And thirdly, it's more likely that you will end up having a solution that is mutually acceptable to you both. So, I just wanted to thank you once again for being here with me. If you watch this later if you watch this later, just leave your comments below. I'm always incredibly grateful for your presence, for your comments, and for whatever suggestions you may have on topics that you would like to hear me talk about and other things. So tomorrow I'll be back, and I will be starting a session on parenting for moms, particularly single moms, and talking about some of the experiences that I had as a mom and some of the experiences that I had in interacting with other parents as I worked with them and their children, like thousands of parents. And also I have a new book that's coming up, Single Moms from Striving to Thriving 101 Success Tips. I'm really excited about that book. It is practical, it's an easy read, and you will love it. So if you know any moms around who are working to raise their children successfully, please have them reach out and like my Facebook page. If you click on this profile here, you will see Works at the Dr. Gwen. If you click on that link, the Dr. Gwen, that is the link to my page, my fan page, so you can go ahead and like that page, and you will get all of the updates about this book that's coming. And I also invite you to go over to my blog page. It's www.thedrgwen.com/blog. And there's some articles there that I am certain that you will be sure to find very valuable and useful to you in your personal life. I also have an iTunes show, and that you can also find on my website. If you go to the homepage, scroll all the way down, and you click on that podcast link, it will take you to iTunes, where you can listen to your heart's delight. So, friends, it has been wonderful chatting with you today, and I look forward to interacting with you tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. So please be here live and join me, and we will have a great time. Thank you so much. Love you.